Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hi, I'm Georgette Pierre, and you're listening to Black and Nuanced Podcast, dispelling the idea that all Black people are monoliths because we're not. My guests and I bring our varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we can't always name. Welcome to Black and Nuanced, and shout out to Excitement Radio in Florida for broadcasting my episodes as well. So listen, Rona edition, I have two guest co-hosts with me this week. I have Shaunathn, aka my cuz, and TJ Smith. They have both been on the podcast before, but they have never been on together. So here is our conversation. Welcome to Black and Nuance. I have special guests with me, Shaunathn and TJ Smith. They are repeat guests. They have been on my podcast before, but they've never been on together. So hi, Rona edition.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm super pumped.
Yes.
Pump it up. So similar to Shaunathn, we both fled from where we actually live.
Yes.
I left New York temporarily. I'm at my mom's house in Northern Virginia, and then Shaunathn, you left Cali.
Yep. Made my way to Colorado.
Right, with the uncle and the
yes,
with the uncle and the auntie, and then TJ, you're just living your best life in Texas, deep in the heart of Texas.
Right.
You got a song for everything, girl.
Right, I do. You remember?
You have to sing that song. You got to embrace Texas.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So TJ, tell us real quick, what is it that you do?
What is it that I do? So I make the world less problematic, one conversation at a time. I work in social justice and in education, having the conversations that others shy away from.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so listen, TJ, since we're working on your LinkedIn and things, I hope you have that written down somewhere because that needs to be part of that summary.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
You got to. She's not a social media person, Shaunathn. So I got to help her with that, but that's cool. Shaunathn, tell us who you are.
All right. Well, hello, listeners. My name is Sean, aka Shaunathn, aka Saint Asia, and I have a lot of AKAs.
He does.
And I'm a basic bitch with bad bitch tendencies. I'm also a multi-potentialite, a Renaissance soul, an aesthete, a serial freelancer, et cetera, and I'm basically moving through the world and experiencing the world on my own terms.
Wow.
That is, listen, TJ, that is to a T. And he has also styled me for all of my digital series. The one that has not come out yet. Yes.
I was about to give it away. Hold up.
So when they see it, he styled me for all of the episodes. There's 7 episodes, and I can't wait for the world to see. But yes, come on, basic bitch with bad bitch tendencies.
Yeah.
Is that the episode title, TJ?
It could be the next one.
Potentially, because I love me a good basic Betty.
Yes.
Listen, I can be basic Betty in my ways too, and
we like it very organic and natural. I don't have time to be doing too much primping. We gonna give what we gonna give.
Too much primping.
Right.
Y'all are giving me so much life. So can we talk about some things? Because I've been in my feelings during quarantine. First and foremost, I remember when I was talking to Sean, he was just like, yo, my hotivities are on pause. I said, wait, huh? Hotivity? Yeah. Is that the case for everyone across the board? Like, is it like completely on pause? Are y'all doing a little something, nudes, partial nudes, ass shot? Like, what we doing?
I'll let you go first, TJ.
Because
don't worry, because I can let my basic Bettiness come out here because my hotivities are definitely on pause. I feel like they were on pause prior to Rona even rolling through the block, but yeah, I'm a basic Betty, as Georgette explained earlier. I don't really do social media, and fun fact, Georgette and I FaceTime regularly. And I was just being funny. And I was like, what if I tried to send this and I'm working on my angles? And she's like, ma'am, get the Doritos bag.
She had too much going on. She had too much.
She's like, nobody's even going to be able to see what you're trying to offer because it's this like lightning blue Dorito bag right there. You might want to move that. So
I mean,
said, like,
I mean,
I'm not
food and
there yet.
food and sex, though. I mean, I don't know. They kind of go hand in hand. So I don't
I
know.
mean, like, Sean, when I tell you, I said, if you don't move them damn things off your table in the background, that was the first thing I noticed. And she just started laughing. I was like, this is too much. This is too
No,
much.
honestly, I can't even watch porn if there's like too much background noise. Like, I'm like, why is there this can of Lysol inside? Like, can you please, like, I mean, I know it's like in the moment, but damn, like,
That is too funny. Okay, so Sean, I feel like I know part of this answer, but talk to me about your activities. What are you doing?
so I'm not even gonna lie. Like, previous to this, I do my thing, kind of like uninhibited. But now I'm kind of nervous, like to be really honest. Because I think I have a really good grasp on what's happening as far as how this virus is being spread. And so, like, it's definitely like one of those things where you should wash your hands and blah, 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 blah. But if someone is to sneeze or if someone is to cough or you are to inhale any type of, the microscopic droplets that people kind of like spew just from everyday things like talking or whatever, you are done. Like it doesn't matter how many times you wash your hands or how many times you did whatever, you have the potential to get sick. It's a highly contagious virus. And so I've never been a germaphobe. I walk outside with my shoes off. I don't wash my hands as much as I probably should, to be honest, full disclosure. But the thing is now I'm washing my hands a hell of a lot. I don't want anyone near me. And I'm really like, I'm not trying to really touch nobody. So yeah, like mines are kind of on pause. I'm not trying to die for the D at all.
Okay. I'm not trying to. Yo, that's
No.
episode title special.
There we go.
I'm not trying to die for the D. I'm not trying to die for the D. That is it. I appreciate that too. Okay, so wait a minute, because I had to get TJ up on it. She wasn't really like, she is very uninhibited when it comes to her sexual fluidity, right? But me, I feel like I'm a little bit more of a prude. You already know that about me, Sean, right?
Yeah,
And so, but I was up on game about sending nudes and partial nudes before she was. And so, what about nudes though? Is there anyone that you're even still kind of, are any of you all entertaining anybody where it's worth even sending pictures to?
So this might be something that you asked later on in this episode, but it's crazy how many exes and like past flings and past situationships have like come to the surface now that we're all like at home and doing nothing. So yeah, I actually have been, and like a few FaceTime calls have happened, definitely like a few picture messages or whatever. And yeah, like I feel like it's like with people that I would never have like suspected because it's like usually it's like a lot of old people like that I used to deal with. So yeah, definitely that. But that was already happening though, so it's not really new. Just like the people are new that it's happening with.
TJ, what about you?
Yeah, like you explained, first of all, it took me a long time to even jump on board with sending news. It just took me, I am just not, although I am a visual learner, I am just not into pictures and fantasies. Like I don't need a lot to warm me up. Like I'm always just kind of ready to go. And so though I just couldn't buy into that. And so with news, I just feel like I don't need to be sending pictures if we're not about to do anything. I think Lil Wayne said it best with the song with him and DJ Khaled and Chris Brown. He was like, "Don't send me no naked pictures if I ain't, about to do what needs to happen after naked pictures." So I can't get with it. And it's too much for me. Like it doesn't come natural. I literally have to like FaceTime a friend, like, so where's the lighting supposed to be? And how should I hold my phone? It becomes like this workout and it's not even
Yeah.
and so I don't even want to do it anymore. And I don't like when people send them to my phone unsolicited. It's such a turn off.
Oh, that has never happened to me. Let me not say never. That has not happened to me.
And
That happens to me all the time.
And I'm just like, block. I don't like.
But where are they coming from? Do y'all keep y'all Bluetooth and Wi-Fi? Like, what are y'all doing?
Well, no, I mean, I get them from people that I've exchanged, like text
Oh,
messages and stuff
photos
with
with.
before, but
Okay.
sometimes people will take it to that next level. Like, it's like, oh, I didn't know this was what we were doing now, but okay, like, sure.
Right.
And so, yeah, like, so just to give a pointer to TJ, and we want to hear what you have to say about this also, Georgia. You're not going to get by without
Right.
telling us what you do.
Oh, of
But
course.
yeah, like I definitely agree, TJ. I think most things that we do should come natural. So don't force it. If it
Right.
feels forced, you're gonna look awkward and it's gonna feel stupid. You're not gonna want to send it. But sometimes when you're like really feeling your beat, like you might get out the shower and be like, okay, wait a minute, like what's going on here? Grab your phone and like just like take some flicks. Like you might wind up hating them all, or you might love them and then you can save them for a rainy day. So when you want to send pictures to somebody, you can.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that because I definitely am not checking for those moments in the shower. I'm definitely like running for the Clinique and the shea butter, like, let me hurry up and get this skin before it dries. But
Yes.
no worries. With the Rona being here, I have plenty of time. So I will definitely
Yes.
add that to the daily bathing routine. And I'll keep you posted on what.
Well, to Sean's point, he actually hit the nail on the head, and he and I have never discussed it like this, but I promise you, when I lived in Florida, I actually banked all my photos in Florida when I would get out the shower.
Okay.
And so
Mhm.
like I would have been like Yaya was snatched, my angles were good, like I had like the side boob situation, like all of the things.
Mhm.
Like so I, to be honest, have not taken any new photos. So what everyone's going to get, not everyone, but like if I am dating you, you're gonna get these old
Yeah.
photos that don't look old, but them shits are still sitting in my in the app that I use. I will not say the app that I use because I don't want no one try to break in and shit. But in the and the app that I use actually has this security filter where like if someone tries to break into your phone into that specific app, it will take a picture of
Oh,
them.
wow.
And yes, and so but yeah, that's where I saved my photos. So to his point, like when I would get out and I was feeling myself and I was feeling real sexy, that's when I took my photos.
Yeah.
So I have not taken any, and I have not sent any. I actually I'm very mindful of any photos that I do send, and also like all the markers. Like I had to tell TJ, Sean, I was like, TJ, can you keep your fucking face out of these photos
Yeah, you have to keep your
that you
face out
sent?
of them,
She
yeah.
was like, but my face looks cute. I said,
Exactly.
but
It's
Yeah.
like my favorite
I
body
said,
part.
but ma'am, I have been around guys where they've shown me other women's nude photos
Oh
and they
no.
like their full faces were in the shots. And
No.
that's why I was just like, never show your face because they are showing it to other people.
Yeah, you have to really trust somebody. And then, so a few pointers for that too is okay, one, to get rid of your timestamp, copy the photo. If you have an iPhone, copy the photo, then send it. So, like, just hit copy or hit
Mhm.
duplicate, then send that one because it won't have the timestamp of where you sent it and what time you sent it. Yeah, that. And then, like, yeah, I think it's cool to like include everything but your eyes because your eyes are really what gives you away. Like, if
Yeah.
you take, yeah, like, so you can do from like your nose down. And then, yeah, I just like hide mines because I'm not really too concerned about like who's gonna find it. Oh, and then the last pointer is, yeah, like if you're gonna put your face in it, just make sure it's something you're comfortable with the whole planet seeing. Because if it gets out at one point, or if you become famous, everybody gonna see it. So just make
Right.
sure you're comfortable with people seeing it if you're gonna put your face in it. I mean,
And I think her short answer is no.
okay.
That
Well,
means
I've dabbled in some like very explicit public,
I know you have.
property, so. It is what it is. Sometimes you just be feeling cute and you're like, I'm putting this out into the universe, whatever.
I love it.
I know. I love Sean. He's just so free. So there's been some things that I've been thinking about. I know I've seen different people mentioning it on Twitter or just social media. We've been seeing all these challenges, kings, queens, commit challenge, where it's like like they're acting like they're mixing up, like God is
Mm,
creating their perfect wife, their perfect husband, their perfect significant other.
yeah.
What would well, first and foremost, the first question is, are you all in this space where post quarantine, post Rona, are you all even looking to be in a relationship? Because I feel like that started being the new wave of people feeling like, once I get out of Rona, once I get out this quarantine, I'm gonna be dating and doing this and doing that. But if you weren't even in that mindset before this happened, are you really going to be in that mindset when you get out of it? So that's my main question. Like, are you all looking for something? Has Rona kind of emphasized those things, or Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Shaun, I'll let you go first this time since
Okay. Yeah, so like I've kind of been like in before this whole thing happened, I've been kind of been in my head about the whole partnership thing. And like I can't say that my view has really changed on it. Beforehand, I was kind of like, I'm an only child. I kind of like, do my own thing. And so like if I'm gonna have a partner, it's gonna have to be someone that's really specific and like really okay with me being an individual. And I've noticed that with this, like, especially with these challenges, people are trying to like, mix up and, summon whatever. And I'm just like, I'm kind of like go with the flow. Like, I would love to attract someone that definitely was kind of like the yin to my yang or whatever. But I'm not pressed at all. I would not mind being, a batch. I'm also a male, and I'm, I'm a man, so it's kind of like different, I guess. But like, I wouldn't mind being a bachelor for a long time. It just doesn't. I don't need to have a partner. But yeah, no, I haven't really changed my. No, I mean, it would be cute. The only thing I have thought about was it's like if I did have a partner in these times, I wouldn't have to worry about the germs, which is like really what I keep thinking about. Like, because people are, it's like if you got quarantined with someone you were already dating or like married to or whatever, once you guys are quarantined together, you kind of have your person versus being single, you don't have anyone. And it's like, okay, now I run the risk of like potentially getting this virus because I want to be out thotty. And it's like, well, if you already had somebody, you don't have to worry about that. So but no, I mean, whatever. Plus I don't really buy into the idea of like the whole that challenge thing was funny. I saw the one with the guy. I'm just like, wasn't he putting like vodka or something in that thing? What was that stuff? Like,
Oh, I don't know what he was pouring
it
in
looked like
it.
he
It
was
looked
making
like
a cocktail. I was like, what
right.
is that? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I believe in like organic interactions, and so like, if I attract somebody or whatever, I'm down, but I'm not too pressed. It is what it is.
What about you, TJ? Because I'm, and by the way, Shaun, we're going to come back to a point that you made about if you all were quarantined together. Because I've been seeing mixed messages and thoughts about that,
Okay.
about people being quarantined with their bays. But TJ, you go ahead.
So I definitely agree with Shaun with saying like I am more looking for something organic. And one thing that I can say is prior to the Rona, I had started doing the work around my fear of being in relationships because for the last I just started back dating seriously, maybe over the last 2 years. But what I can say is some days I do feel like I'm gonna run out of the Rona and I'm going to get a dog, a turtle, some children, and a partner. Um, because I
Yes.
just believe that the way God made me, I am the type of person that has to experience things to know whether I want them or do not want them.
Mm.
Um, and by me being in the Rona, or in this quarantine, I definitely had going into this, like I said, I had started doing the work around like my fear of being in a relationship so that I could overcome that fear and be willing to be in a relationship. But I had also listened to my Therapy for Black Girls podcast, and I had my single woman action plan rolling and running, like up and done. I had done 9 out of the 10 things, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna conquer this life with me by myself, and I'm more than okay with that. But about week 2 or 3 of journaling and just like doing the work, but also being in my 4 bedroom house by myself, it was
Oh
like, oh,
gosh.
okay, I'm gonna get a pet.
Mm.
I'm good.
I think that's a good idea, actually.
Um,
Unconditional love. Pets will love you unconditionally for sure.
right, because I need that unconditional love source
Yep.
from God of the universe, my 2
Yep.
cats. And then I was like, I've been doing really good with my 2 plants. I got a snake plant and I got an aloe vera
Yes.
plant. So I feel like that gives me hope that maybe I can go and find a human being under the age of 18 that I could also take care of like I've done these plants. And
Okay.
then that makes me feel like, I may be definitely open to, as long as I have committed to doing the work, I may be open to partnership post Rona on a more serious level than what I have entertained over the last 2 years. But I can also say that that comes in waves
Yeah.
because it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I may feel like that. But on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, that partner piece is just like, I'm going to just ride it out with my puppy and my turtle, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I can say that I definitely started doing the work before going into Rona. But depending on the day of the week, yes, I am one of those people that will be at the pet shop and on Tinder after we finish Rona.
That's funny.
But you know, I heard that shelters were actually turning up during this time.
Running out of animals.
They were running out of animals.
That's good.
I agree, though.
That's
I do.
good.
Yeah, I'm glad that that's the case. But I definitely heard that. You know, as far as me, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm still, and I haven't verbally said this, and that's why I was actually waiting to this podcast episode with you all, just to kind of let this be some healing for me. But I want that old thing back, right? Like, you all know the situation that I'm talking about with the person that I'm talking about. It's just, I miss that person and I miss what was going on. And I felt like the way we ended wasn't on some like, fuck you, you ain't shit, you trash ass dick. Like, it wasn't that.
That's the worst. It's not like it's easy when it's like that, because it's like, oh yeah, we had an argument and we cussed each other out, and he punched me in the eye, and then it was over.
But like, it was just like he just disappeared, stopped responding, and so I still follow him on social media, and it's just like,
I don't know why.
I know, I get it. Listen, like, I understand people have hangups about that. Like, you should be completely done with everybody, but I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that's still hopeful, but then there's also a part of me that has already accepted, like, you're not hearing from him, because I know I'm also not hitting him up, right? And so, but yeah, like, I think, you know, kind of even going into the next point, like, I don't know if certain things have been reinforced, but like, I think there's been some themes that I've been thinking about, right? Like, with people going through this quarantine. Do you all feel like any type of form, like any themes of loneliness, freedom, wanting to be in a relationship? Well, you all said that already, but like, do you think anything has been reinforced? Have you all romanticized things that no longer serves you, and you're coming to terms with that because you've had a lot of time to think about different things?
TJ.
Sure. I like how we are like ping pong.
What you doing? You practicing your selfies? What you doing over there?
You know I am. You know, because you saw the lighting, so you know I got this phone up, and I'm like, let me move all these cups and things out the way.
Y'all are so funny.
I am just trying to like let it organically happen. And you know how you sit in the chair and you got your back straight up, and that angle is just working out over here. So that's what I'm really working on. But I think that what this quarantine has helped me to fully understand is the difference between being alone and being lonely. I have always heard that they were two different concepts, and I just think that in the strong Black woman narrative that I opt into, right, like loneliness is not an option, versus like being alone is a sign of strength, almost like a badge of honor. And I think that in this space, I have had moments where it's just like, all right, let's check in with yourself. Yes, you are alone, but you have these additional feelings. It is okay to be lonely. Like, that is a very natural and valid feeling. Giving myself the grace to feel it, but also holding myself accountable not to make rash decisions. Like Sean hinted at earlier, like, kind gentlemen are hitting up my phone. The Rona has allowed these kind gentlemen of my past to do some reflection as well, and send these text messages and these last reach outs of things because they are feeling it. And in holding myself accountable is like, no, and you're still not going to respond, even though you are feeling all of the things. I think what I have also romanticized is just like having a quarantine day, right? Like, the people in my circle are very highly into social media. And so there is a page called Rona Bay and Quarantine Bay. And it's just like all the things you're supposed to be doing in quarantine with your bay. And I'm just like, oh, I want to do this. Let me do all the things. And the person that I am currently dating, even when we had the time, I was just like, oh no, this ain't it. He ain't Quarantine Bay. He not doing none of the things from this this website. So I don't know what this is, right? And so I did sit with that for a moment. But I can honestly say, like, in my times of reflection and also in my times of being shallow and just wanting to do all the things on Instagram, I think that I have done a great job of just like holding myself accountable in this space.
That's
I
what's up.
think. Oh, go ahead, Sean, and I want to come back to the quarantine.
No, I just wanted to say that's what's up. Oh, okay. No, I wanted to touch on one thing you were talking about in the last question real quick when you were talking about your past boo or whatever. I think it's okay for you to still follow him because I'm in the space right now where I'm working on not being attached to outcomes as it applies to other people. And so it's kind of like a stoicism kind of like pillar or whatever. And so if you're following him and you're following him because you genuinely love him and care about him and you want to see him do well, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think if it's an unhealthy attachment where you find yourself being like self-deprecating because of it, like, oh, well, why didn't he pick me or why did he ghost me? If it's unhealthy, then you should cut the tie. But if it's just because you want to see him win, which you should still want to see him win, whether or not he wants to see you win or not has nothing to do with you. You're not attached to his outcome. You're attached to yours.
And it's all of that. It is definitely all of that. It's not self-deprecating at all.
I think it's still cool.
I still support everything that he's doing, and I do wish him well with a lot of different things. Oh gosh, here she goes. Here she goes.
TJ is not having it.
Here's my thing. You know how I appreciate a good basic Betty? I also appreciate petty Betty because I feel like, so yes, I believe in karma and just like being the energy you seek to attract, right? But my question would be like, where do you draw the line of like seeing him not continuing to traumatize yourself? Because like you feel some type of way when you see this kind gentleman in his scrolling across your timeline, and it's like, I can wish you well, kind sir, from a distance, and that doesn't mean that I have to be your 101st follower, right? Like, no, you ghosted me. So guess what? I hope you drop down to 99. Like, see how I was helping you out, and let me take away my contribution because that's what happens when you ghost me. I also think that he chose. Yes, I am not as far along on my journey from detaching from the outcomes.
Yes.
Now I'm still working on that.
Yeah, but, I feel you.
No, and more no.
But that's the test with, like, it's really easier said than done to like be, it's like, I'm not going to be attached. It does hurt your feelings, but it's like, it's kind of like a practice that should be all across the board. You really can't take things personal. Like, I'm trying to get to a place where I don't take a lot of things personal. Like, some things are personal, but like, you can't let it rule your world. So same thing applies to dating is what I was saying. But anyway, my answer to the question is that no, I haven't necessarily started thinking. What was the question? Have I started thinking differently?
Yeah, or like what things are you romanticizing that no longer serves you, or have you romanticized?
I mean, like, to be honest, like, I think I'm a bit of an absurdist. I think that the way that we kind of like perform kind of relationships in America, at least, or in the Western world, is kind of ridiculous anyway. And so like, I kind of am like poking fun at like this whole like thing, like the quarantine bay, the coronavirus bay, or whatever. It's really funny to me because I'm like, people are really ridiculous, but it's like, I'm not above it though. Like, I'm like one of those people where it's like, okay, I'm laughing at you, but I'm also laughing with you. I think this is all fun and games, and we have to find a way to pass the time. But no, anyone that was chopped before Rona is still chopped in my book. And like TJ was saying, you can love people from afar. I still want I literally want everyone to win, as long as they're not hurting anyone else in the process. Everyone on this planet is how I feel. And so my thing is, like, I don't wish anyone any ill, but if I chopped you before the Rona, you're going to be chopped after the Rona.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so what I've been working on in my romantic life, personally, or just all overall, like in my life, is giving new people a chance and discovering new worlds within the world that we live in. You have to realize there's so many people living so many different ways right in our neighborhoods, like, that we never talk to, that we never experience, and they live completely different lives than us. it's time to give different people a chance. And I think that this coronavirus thing is making people realize that their local community, the people that are around you immediately, the people that you see in the grocery stores and your bodega, when you go to the, to the library, whatever, like, we need to stop overlooking people that are right in our radius, because I feel like if we give some of those people a chance, you never know who you might encounter. And so that's where I'm at as far as like dating and romantic relationships and stuff. I'm really starting to broaden my gaze and kind of like really kind of think about like people that I'm encountering in different ways, rather than having such a stringent way of looking at who I'm going to deal with and who I'm not. But the old people are chopped, and that remains. So,
the old people are chopped, and that
they're chopped. That's the bottom line.
Well, so what I think is very interesting. So there's with the people, or the small population of people that say like, oh yeah, I want a Rona Bay. There was this one hilarious. It was such a hysterical video. I don't know if you caught wind of it, Sean. I think I may have shared it with you, TJ, where they put like, how people put like single people or like me, and then they put like a fake quote or they'll make up like something that someone else is saying in their heads. And so they had single people, oh, I want a quarantine bay. And then they had this video of this woman playing a flute on the balcony, and the husband comes out and is cussing her out, like telling her to stop playing the flute. Like, the shit was so funny. And then so it was just like,
awesome.
Right, but it says like couples during quarantine, right? Yeah. And so I'm curious about, and maybe you all have insight to people that are actually experiencing this. I think, like, I know the one joke was like, people that wanted to get divorced are still married, right? But all these people that are with people that they thought they wanted to be with, have you all had any insight to people that are just like, oh, I can't.
Oh yeah,
I can't be with this person.
This is like, I realize that a lot of people are having these new epiphanies now, but this is something that I've always talked about. People need to be friends before they decide to like be partners or boyfriends or girlfriends or married, especially because it's like a lot of people are going to figure out who their partners really are while they're quarantined with them. Like, for real. You're not going to be able to hide who you are. You're going to have to be exactly who you are when you're quarantined with your partner. And so it's like a lot of people going to figure out that they don't like their partner. Like, forget loving them. They don't even like
them. Yep.
And so the thing is, like, yeah, like it's probably going to be a lot of divorces, a lot of breakups, a lot of situations like that, because people are going to be like, oh my God, I actually cannot stand you. But when you're at work, 8 to 12 hours a day, both of you, and your common denominator is rent or mortgage or your kid. And then when you have to spend, close to 24 hours a day with this person, all of a sudden, you'll find out quickly whether or not you actually care about this person. And I think we've seen both sides of it on social media. I'm so inspired by the people that actually knew. You could tell some people are discovering new parts of their partners. Some people are discovering that, they really, they're doubling down on their love. And then some people are discovering that they actually hate their partner. And I think both are equally beautiful, because I think clarity is like one of the best things you can have. Like, there's peace in knowing about, what you're involved in. So
I like the whole doubling down on your love. TJ, do you know anyone personally going through those motions?
I don't personally know anybody that cannot currently stand their partner anymore, or anybody who has fallen head over heels in love with the person that they are quarantined with. But I do want to echo what Sean said about, like, you have to like the person that you think you want to spend the rest of your life with. And I think that is so important. In the person that I am currently dating, well, you know what? The person that I'm currently in this gray space with, I wouldn't even call it dating. And I hope he listens to this episode. He will.
Make him.
Right. Go ahead and send him that link.
You know I am. You know I am. But Sean saw him. He sent me a voice memo while we were waiting for you.
Oh yeah, in the green room.
Yeah, I feel so special in the green room. But speaking from our own lived experience and being divorced or having experienced a divorce, the person I'm currently dating, something that we talked about very early was just like the importance of liking the person that you decide that you want to spend the rest of your life with, because love is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And love is not enough around what we have been taught to believe love is.
Mm-hmm.
That concept is not enough
Mm-mm.
to sustain a marriage. You have to genuinely like that person, because my mom used to tell me a lot growing up. She would be like, I love you, but I don't like you. And now that I am older, but I was a special child. We can talk about that on another episode. But now that I'm older, I completely understand that, because to me, love is obligatory. It's like
Yes, kind
this
of.
that we already give out because we have the same DNA, or because I stand in a place of privilege, so I am taught to love those who are beneath me, right? Like, it's like this obligatory emotion that I'm just supposed to give out, with no strings attached, versus when I am seeking to like you, I seek to understand you and find a shared connectedness. Because I don't have any obligation, right? Like, I get to freely like you and choose you and be curious about you and be curious about what it is we are creating. I
Mm.
think that I get to see that a lot in my friendships, because I like the people that are my friends, because I got to choose them. We have a shared connectedness. I learn from them, and I have a curiousness. I have a curiosity about them, versus the people I was told to like. I mean, love from a child. It was just like this thing I gave you. So I think that yes, being friends is important, liking the person, and then exploring the concept of just like this love you were taught to give, and what that looks like and what that means to you and your potential partner.
Yeah, because like I think that like when you were saying love is obligatory, I like mostly agree with that because especially if you're trying to be like the most I hate to say the word evolved or like vibrate higher or whatever because I don't like
Mhm.
talking about hierarchy when it comes to like understanding and knowledge, but like if you're reaching higher and you're trying to be your best self or live your best life or whatever, ultimately I think most people want to practice unconditional love in the agape sense. Like you want to be at a point where you know what like I love humanity. And so that is one of those things where it's kind of like selfless. It really has nothing to do with you and how you feel. It's about kind of like the greater good of people. But
Mhm.
liking somebody is absolutely optional.
Mhm.
And, some people, I think parents are a good example of that, where it's like some people just do not like their parents. Some parents don't like their kids. You use that example. And it's a real thing, but you have to like kind of love your parents or your parents have
Mhm.
to kind of love you and also even if they don't want to they kind of do anyway because that's just the way kind of things are. It's like genetic. But also yeah, I think we should re-examine the way that we've been taught to love because I think some people
Mhm.
still don't really realize what that word means and like there's definitely levels to that. So yeah, I totally I feel I would love to have a conversation about that completely, but whatever, I
As
know
far
time.
as what?
Just like love and like loving versus liking, like
Oh
that's
yeah, we could definitely. I can definitely bring you all back on. We could definitely have that conversation. I think.
yeah.
I think I will say, and I feel like I've heard this only recently, but with you all saying that, I do wish I waited longer and built a friendship because that is something that I definitely thought about. And I think TJ and I have also spoken about liking someone, like actually liking the person, right? Like, okay, it's cool. Like y'all are messing, y'all are intimate, but like, do you even like this person? Like if there was everything was stripped away,
Yep.
do you like this person? And so I definitely I can say like I have not built enough friendships, and that's the reason why in the last episode that I had recorded we were talking about myself and my other guests. We were saying that we're not necessarily cool with exes, right? Because these aren't people,
Hallelujah.
right? there weren't foundations built with them.
Yep.
One, two. If I was in a bind, well, I don't fuck with you anymore. So I know I
Yeah.
wouldn't leave my life in your hands for any
Yep.
reason. And so, but I wonder if that would be different if there was a genuine friendship that was fostered and not like for a few months, but like legit on some
Yeah.
let's ride this out. And so, yeah, I definitely think about that often with my most recent situation, for sure, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. But can I say one more thing about
go
that?
ahead.
So like what I encounter, like, and I like to use like layman's words when I talk to people, but I think people get offended sometimes when they don't understand the full context of a word, like friendship, for example. So when I meet someone new, I'll usually be like, yeah, like they'll be like, what are you looking for? I'm like, okay, first and foremost, a friendship. And you would think that I like cuss at people sometimes when I say that. People get mad. What you mean, a friend? You just looking for, people use this phrase all the time. You're just looking for a friend. That is the way people diminish that word is like totally unfair. Like, in comparison to what a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife, like, put context with all of those words. Like, people cheat on their husbands all the time. People cheat on their wives all the time. People cheat on their boyfriends all the time. People cheat on their girlfriends all the time. But usually, if you have a friend in somebody, that person's going to be around. If it's a real friend, if it's a true friend, especially best friends, that person will be around through the thick and the thin. That person's going to see you with your wig off. That person's going to see you when your beard grows out and is ugly. That person's going to see you ugly cry. And like, that is what the ultimate relationship really is. Like, friendship, I think, should really be above like a lot of these other words we put over friendship, but a lot of people don't look at it that way. And I think, like I said, people get almost offended when I say, like, first and foremost, I'm looking for a friendship. And it's like you said, if you would have, especially with like heteronormative couples or heterosexual couples, I feel like, there's this like social construct around like girls and guys like interacting in this way where it's not ever really like, kind of like mutually respectful, or like there's no camaraderie in it. So it feels like it's only like to like you're doing this to court this person or to date them or whatever. But in reality, it's like you should be able to be friends with the opposite sex without a problem. And then that will be the base of whatever you're doing. You shouldn't start with someone saying like, oh, I want to this, like, I'm objectifying you. I want to sleep with you. Or like, you got a lot of money, so I want to be with you because of that. There should be some common ground. And that is not like it's not normalized for, I think, men and women to respect each other in that way. And so for heteronormative couples, I think that's where the friendship base never happens, because that's not the way people were taught to perform relationships, at least in the Western world, at least in America. So I think that we really need to emphasize friendship is important. Like, you got to be friends with somebody. And like, some people believe that word, like, oh, you can't have sex with friends, you can't whatever. I think we really need to expand our horizons on that word, because it is a really loaded thing to be someone's friend. It means a lot. So
we had that conversation because I was just like, Sean, I don't know if I can have sex with someone that I call a friend. Like, and TJ, I know you're just like, you're not having sex with people that you consider friends. And so
yeah,
we've had that conversation. But what were your thoughts on that, TJ, as far as with the last piece, as far as like friends being loaded and being able to be intimate with friends?
So I think that I understand what he says when he says that people respond to him or like almost curse or whatever when you say like, I'm looking for a friend, because I can say that there is a narrative out there that tells women that if a man says he is looking for a friend, he is not looking. When he says that he is looking for a friend, think about all the things that he is then not saying that he's looking for, which wife, which is a partner. And it's just like a narrative around like, if he says that he is looking for a friend, he is going to waste your time. He is not looking at you seriously as a potential partner. He is looking at you as one of his homeboys or whatever, right? And so it's almost like if he says he is just looking for a friend, you need to listen to him and listen to him when he is using the words to describe what he is looking for. So I can definitely see how people may laugh at you or respond differently when you say that. Also, I think about when men have approached me. It's always like, oh no, thank you. I'm currently in a relationship. Well, is it all right if you have a friend? Right? And just like the ill intention that are behind, like this kind sir getting close up on my neck, breathing in my ear, asking, is my partner okay with having this type of friend, right? So I think about just like our context and our socialization around the word friend. Now, me personally, I hate it when people say like, "Oh, this is my friend," and you've known that person for all of 2.2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
To me, friend means a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I don't call everybody my friend. I usually call people what they are in my life. Hey, coworker. Hey, line sister. Like, whatever you are to me,
Mm-hmm.
it means a lot for me to use the word friend because I do value friendship. And I do think that what I have experienced in a lot of romantic relationships is conditional love. But when I
Mm-hmm.
look at my friendships, that is where I have experienced the most unconditional love. And
Right.
so, therefore, to me personally, the word friend means a lot. Now, I can also say that I have not prioritized building friendships in romantic situations because I know how I cut people off when I am done.
Same.
It is hard for me to cut off my friends, right? Like
Yeah.
if I call you a friend and we have withstood the test of time, then it ain't too much that's gonna cause me to walk away from you. I can still be your friend at a distance. You can still call me if you need anything. If we were in a romantic relationship, sir, don't call me. Ma'am, don't call me. You need to call the people who you were calling prior to me entering and leaving your life. I do not
My
maintain
I know.
gosh.
contact with people that I had a romantic relationship with. And so therefore, it is really, it is really hard sometimes for me. I think it is a great concept because I always go back to like, I think of how I have experienced friendship, and that is a very special thing. But I also like trust my friends on a level that it takes a while for a potential partner or a romantic partner to get there. And so I just have not found a way to master like having a friendship with somebody, dating them romantically, and then when it's over, like being able to cut all of that off. So
Yeah.
I just have not because not cutting you off is not an option. Let's just be real honest on how I plan on that ain't an
Yeah.
option. And so what I have to do is just like, but having also like lived through and experienced a divorce, right? Like I always remind myself, have the actions that you have been executing getting you the result that you want, right? So there is definitely a place where I am starting to examine that and just like gain clarity around what a friendship could look like being prioritized before like I make this person a romantic partner, because I think I look for consistent companionship, and to me companionship and friendship look differently, and different avenues that like people travel in my life to attain, like if we're going to be friends or if we're going to be romantic partners.
Mm.
No, I don't hump my friends because I'm just not interested in, I just don't want all of that dynamic. Like I just don't sleep with the people that I call
A
friends.
friend.
Like once we pop, lock, and drop it, you go in a different category. You ain't my friend, but you go.
I would encourage TJ to listen back to what she just said in that answer once this is like listen to it a few times because I think that yeah, you'll find it interesting. Like I feel you completely and like the way my like my temper used to be set up, like I'm like I'm cutting you off. But like I actually do. My one of my best friends is someone that I dated briefly, and like this is like my best friend in the world now. And it's like, previous to that, I'm like, I can't like, and it was difficult to navigate because it's like I'm used to cutting people off after I'm done with them. But since we had the basis of friendship, it was like, well, but I actually like you, like you're like we're cool, like it just didn't work out in that way. And so it's like yeah, like I mean, if you want unconditional love and you feel like your friends love you unconditionally, I mean, there you have it. Because the thing is, relationships can evolve. Like, they don't have to be one thing, and so they can be, they can wax and wane and whatever. But ultimately, it just depends on like what's best for you and that person, I guess, or those people if you decide to have more than two. So, which is another conversation.
Yes. Okay.
Love is fluid. You shouldn't put it all in one person.
Come on, fluid love. Okay, so we're going to get into this last segment called All of the Things, which is usually something personal, heavy, or lighthearted. What's the thought of being intimidating to someone? That came up, and I just really wanted to explore that because that actually started to bother me or kind of get under my skin because I felt like that could have also been part of the demise of certain things based off of someone else's socializations on what they feel like masculinity looks like. And so, at least in heteronormative viewpoints, right? And so, have you all ever been told that you intimidate someone and then almost kind of felt like you were punished by their own that person's insecurities?
Absolutely. And you know what? My short answer is that's not my problem. That's not your problem. That's that person's problem. Like, I think that people of color specifically, Black people, we deal with a lot of people, especially when, say you got an education, and say you got a higher education, or say you got a little bit of money, or say you got a little bit of, clout on Instagram or something. People get intimidated, and it's even if you're not giving off the energy that you're better or that you feel like you're better or whatever, people get intimidated by your successes or your knowledge or your understanding of the world, and it's like, that's not your problem. And so the people that are doing that to you are not your people. And I know that you're talking about a specific situation because I know you, and we've talked about this. And what I'm gonna tell you is none of what happened is your problem. None of it. And especially because you weren't afforded an explanation. One of the things that I ride and die on is if I'm going to date somebody or I'm going to deal with somebody and then I'm going to, chop them, like I've been saying, I'm going to explain to them if they ask me, or if they, if my, explanation is solicited, I'm going to tell them exactly what it was, because I feel like I would want someone to do that to me. It's not your problem. It's not your problem. It is not your problem. It's not your problem to worry about it. And the sooner you let that go, that notion that, well, maybe if I was a little, maybe if I said, smaller words, or if I pretended that I didn't know about this, or if I hadn't lived in New York for over a decade and experienced all the things, then maybe, this person would, find me a little less intimidating, and then they could be, with me. No, you don't ever want to diminish yourself or your understanding for anybody.
Absolutely.
So it's not your problem. I would encourage you to keep, seeking all the knowledge and be the biggest you can be, and, and to continue, because one day, potentially you will meet somebody that will see you where you are and be like, yo, like, yes, this is exactly what I want and or need. And you may know more than that person. And, I think queer relationships are different. Obviously, like, I'm mostly having queer relationships, so it's like not the same. Like, we're just kind of like generally more fluid anyway, whether it be men, women, or whoever. But like, just with, with usually in heterosexual relationships, I think there's like these gender norms or whatever that people are trying to perform. And what I'm gonna tell you is, we're reaching the paradigm is shifting, where even in heterosexual relationships, men are starting to realize that, first of all, femininity and the divine feminine is more powerful than probably anything on this planet. And also, women can lead. And they don't have to necessarily be, making more money, or they don't have to be smart or whatever, or they could be all of those things. But it does not matter, because at the end of the day, relationships are about balance.
Yep.
Someone's going to bring something and the other person's going to bring the other thing, and y'all going to come together and it's going to work out. Or it might be 4 people that do that, or it might be 10, whatever works out for you. But it's about balance. And so I'm going to say again, it is not your problem. To any of the listeners that are feeling this way, especially the women or the females or the, the people that identify as women, listen, it's not your problem. It is not your problem if somebody feels like you are intimidating to them. I mean, or if you're intimidating them, it's not your problem. That's not your problem at all. You shouldn't worry about that.
There was something that TJ and I had conversations about offline some time ago. And I definitely don't feel like, at least in that situation, like I didn't feel like I had to dim my light. But something that she said is, I come off, and this, cousin, you actually helped me identify, but like not being the traditional woman and wanting the traditional things. And one thing that TJ said that I thought was so poignant was, men that are cis hetero or identify as cis hetero get so excited about these non-traditional women that they meet, non-cis hetero women that they meet, that can knock them off their feet, and they just show them something different than a basic Betty. And then what happens then, TJ, right? What do they do?
Right. And they are attracted by us because we are so different and we operate outside the norm, but they're not willing to do the work to keep us.
Well, then kick their asses to the curb, because that's
Right.
lazy and it's dry, and it's also not your problem.
Right. And I completely agree with everything you said, Sean. And I really, when I was told this, I was young and I definitely took it personally. But one of the books that have changed my life is the Four Agreements, and the agreement of don't take anything personally.
Yeah.
And so like now when I hear that sugar honey iced tea, I just really hope that that person that claims to be intimidated by me then takes that to do the work to find out what is it that is intimidating you, so that you can do the work around that insecurity. We all have insecurities and they manifest in different ways, and currently that one is manifesting and you sharing that I intimidate you, right? So like I encourage you to break down your socialization. Think about why you operate the way you do and the feelings that were evoked by my presence that made you identify with the word intimidation. So use that to find out what it is that you need to do within you so that you don't feel that way anymore when you encounter somebody who vibrates the way that I do. Like, and so I just feel like I have learned that people's reactions to you and how you show up is less about you and more about them. But my hope, prayer, and wish is that people begin to do the work around why do I feel this way and really understand that it's not that person, it's something within me. So we can start to, meet each other where we are in this place of we have unpacked our socialization. We are no longer just passing down traditions and ways of thinking and operate because it's been tradition, right? Like we are really starting to think about the ways in which we operate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially POC and Black people and people of the diaspora, because we have a lot of trauma around that specific thing, identity, and figuring out what, affects us and how it affects us. And so, yeah, definitely. Oh my God, definitely. We need to, yeah. And like, you know what, like, I want to say this too, like, I am like one of the most humble people when it comes to like saying when I do something wrong or if I don't know something or like, and so one of the things that I practice is if I feel some type of way in a situation, if I start feeling ugly is what I like to call it, I immediately check myself like, why are you feeling this way? And the only thing you can do that's going to help you grow is to keep it real with yourself in that moment and say exactly what it is. Because if you don't, and that doesn't mean you have to say it out loud, you can, but say it to yourself and be like, you know what, this is why I feel this way. And like you said earlier, you have to sit in it. You have to be in that feeling and experience it and then move and try and move through it or unpack it or figure it out. But like, that's the only way you can grow. And yeah, like that's real.
No, I love it. I think there was something that I saw, like, I feel like there's also generalizations made against women on why they're single. And I'm just like, that's not the case. Like, don't, I had responded to somebody I'm cool with, and I was just like, it's not the fact that women aren't willing to do certain things for the men. Like, why aren't you all coming in on the side of like, what are men willing or not willing to do, to be with these women, right? Like, I think a lot of times it's easy to fall into a basic Betty because like this is someone that you don't have to, that's just going to listen to you or just not challenge you on certain things. And some people may feel like in their socializations of masculinity, like a woman challenging them is a fucking problem. And so, or at least making them feel differently about the things that they were thought to believe about masculinity. And so, yeah, so, I just want to kind of throw that out there as well. But absolutely, it's just, there's work that has to be done around me and just beyond the situation on like not taking things personally anyways, but that's work regardless.
Yeah, and men need to really, I think, men need to do work around like how they perform masculinity. Like there's a term out there, divine masculinity. That's a real thing. Like you can be masculine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like a lot of people think that, oh, there's an attack on masculinity. No, there's a attack on a toxic masculinity. There's been a lot of lazy ass, disrespectful ass traits that men have normalized, and you have men and you have women, you have people all across the world that are saying, no, this needs to stop. We need to figure out how you can be masculine and you can be respectful and you can love unconditionally and you can be honest and you can communicate. And those things aren't feminine. Like they are things that people should be doing because we respect and love each other, and that's it. So,
amen. I love it. Okay, so TJ, I don't know if you're interested in sharing your social media, but let's start with you, Sean. How can they find you?
Oh God, online? I changed my social media like I changed my.
Yes, I saw. I was like, he's doing. I said, this is too much.
Okay, well, you know what? Because I'm a multi-potentialite. Like I said, I have a lot of different, MOs and AKs and stuff. But anyway, right now you can find me at Shaunathn Was Here, and so I'd spell it SHNTHNWSHR. It's basically disemboweled. That's a word, disemboweled.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah. So you can find me on all social media channels at that.
TJ.
And you can't find me, like Georgette said earlier. I'm going to work on me embracing social media. Maybe that's what the Rona wants me to do. And once we get all of that figured out, she can always come back and update the show notes.
Yeah.
You will not find her because she doesn't use it. That's funny. TJ, Sean, thank you all so much for coming on. I appreciate you all.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you to TJ and Shaunathn for joining me this week. Interesting, intense conversations, but listen, just got to get some things off my chest, and I appreciate them for helping me process and even just sharing their opinions on different things. You can find me on Twitter at Georgette and Instagram at Georgette Pierre. You can find the podcast on Twitter and IG at Black Nuanced Pod. That's NUANCED Pod. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and Spotify at Black and Nuanced Podcast. Make sure you follow and subscribe. Leave me some 5-star comments. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, email me at blacknuancedpod@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Until next week. Peace.